Hi everyone, welcome to your practice. This is Steven. Today we're going to be stretching our hip flexors. What are hip flexors? It's the group of muscles, there's quite a few of them, that bring the legs closer towards the torso. That's their job. Or if the legs are fixed, it brings your torso closer towards the front of the thighs. So they run, some of them are part of the quads, actually one of them. Some are deeper down, so they connect to the lower spine. You might have heard of the psoas and the ilium, or the iliopsoas as they're commonly called together. And then there's a few smaller ones with more obscure names. Let's not waste more time with those complicated names. I would like you to come through low lunge, a more traditional setup where we move the legs quite far apart. And I'm going to tell you right away, this is not the best way to stretch the hip flexors, but I want you to feel it just to notice the difference later on, as I'm going to suggest a couple of modifications. So just feel this as your hips are sort of sinking forward and down. This is length in the front of left hip, definitely, but it's a bit of a funny stretch. Sometimes it doesn't feel so good, and it's, in my experience, it's quite ineffective. You could do this for years and not have any difference at all in how open the front of the hips feel. So now move back a bit so your left hip is above your left knee, or right knee. If you started with the other side, it's fine. And then move that other foot forward so you get more of a square shape under the front leg. Nice. Now have your hands to your hips, level the hips, and lower the back of the pelvis down and lift the front of the pelvis up. So it's a pelvic tilt, a posterior pelvic tilt, which means the back goes down, the front goes up, and immediately straight away you'll feel a different length in the front of that left hip. Just check if you can notice that. You can also think of lengthening the lower back and bringing the abdominals a little bit in towards the spine. All of this is going to do the same kind of thing. Nice. So now there's a couple more things we can do. We can push the back knee down and create the action of dragging it forward. That's going to put some more pull and tension into the system. And you can also lift the left arm, so the same side arm as the one you're stretching, and reach the left arm a little bit over the head towards the opposite side, towards the right side. Nice. I'm keeping that left knee pushing down. I'm keeping the abdomen engaged, and I'm keeping the back of the hips down so I'm not arching the back. Good, that's a good stretch. And then release it, swap sides. Just come into that traditional low lunge, you know, that pretty one that you see a lot in those Instagram pictures. It's nice and it looks good. But if we're really going to stretch the hip flexors, it's not the best way to go. So now come back so your right hip is above right knee. Left foot is in so that you get more or less like a square space under the front leg. And then hands to hips, this will help you feel where you are in space. Level the hips, lengthen the buttocks down, and lengthen the lower back along with it, obviously. And it's the same as lifting the front of the hips up. So just see, out of all these different cues I'm giving, which one resonates with you the best, which one gives you the best results. And then press the right knee down, that's the back knee, and pull it forward towards the front foot a little bit. Doesn't have to be a crazy amount of engagement, but just a little bit so you can feel that tension in the muscle that we're targeting. And then maybe the right arm up if you want to intensify. Reach the right arm over the head, but keep all the rest the same. So your pelvis tilted back, your abdominals are engaged. Now you're lengthening that whole right side, and some of those muscles are attached to the lower spine. So that's why the side bend is really effective at creating maximum length, especially in those psoas muscles. Good, and then slowly release. Let's try a different variation of a similar stretch. So right foot forward again, left knee back, and then this time lift your back knee so you're in a high lunge. Nice. So keep some slack by bending that back knee, and we're going to go to a similar set of activations, you could call it. Tip the back of the pelvis back behind you and lift the front of the pelvis up. You can use your hands to do that. So you're tipping the pelvis back. Good. Already you might feel a big stretch, front of left hip. Of course, when it's enough, then you stop there. You don't have to push further than that. Nice. And then see if you can keep this. The abdominals are engaged. And I'm starting to press that left heel a little bit more back behind me. Nice. Usually I don't get to straight leg, it just feels like too much of a pull. But if you do, that's fine. But try not to lose that pelvic tilt. So I'm pressing away, I'm straightening a little bit more to the back leg. Whether it's always straight or not is quite irrelevant. And then bend the front knee a little bit more if you still have space. Nice. Resist the urge to pop the front ribs open. You're going to lose a lot of the stretch. So keep the front of the body together. Nice. And then slowly release. You can put that knee down just to swap sides. Left foot forward, right foot back. Tuck the toes under, lift the knee a little bit. So we're keeping a good bend in that back leg, at least to start with. Nice. Then hands to the hips so you can feel what the pelvis is doing. So instead of pelvis tipped forward, you're going to lose all the stretch if you do that. Tip the pelvis back so the back goes down, your glutes are lengthening down, and the front is lifting up. Abdominals are on. Good. If it's enough, then it's enough. You don't have to do anything else. You just stay here for a couple of breaths. Try to slow the breath down and try to find the right level of engagement for your body. If you can handle a little bit more, then start to push that right heel back, juice up that back leg a little bit more. It might straighten, it might not. This is both is fine. And then maybe bend the front knee a little bit more to get in there. Front ribs, I'm quite sure they want to pop out, but we're not doing that today. Otherwise, we're going to lose a lot of that stretch. Good. Slowly release the back foot down. And then let's come up to standing. I want to do another version of a pose that's really good at lengthening the front of those legs and the hip flexor front of the hips. Nice. Here, hold on to something if you want to, because it's a balancing pose. I'm going to lift the right foot off the mat, turn with the thumb up. I'm going to reach back and hold the inside of this right foot. Nice. I just noticed I have to be a little further away from the wall, so don't go too close. Then keeping the hips more or less forward, I'm going to start pushing that foot, the back foot, into the hand, lifting it up. As the knee goes higher, my front body can lower a little bit. And then what I'm doing is I'm pushing the back foot into the right hand. I'm opening the chest forward to the front. I'm trying not to drop the left shoulder too much. And I'm kicking the right foot back to get a big stretch in the front of that right hip and thigh. Good, this is dancer's pose, Natarajasana, if you're interested in the Sanskrit name. Let's come out, shake out the legs. It's a big stretch, that's why we did this one last. Hopefully you feel a bit more prepared. We'll do the other side. I can show you from this way. So left foot's gonna lift back. Keep your thumb up as you reach your hand behind you. Hold the inside of that left foot. Keep a bit of space to your desk, your wall, whatever you're holding here, because you're going to be tipping forward in a moment. So kick your foot into the hand. Start to lift the left knee while you face forward with the hips and the chest as much as possible. Nice. You'll naturally feel there's a point where you stop. That's perfect. No need to go any further than that. Kick your foot into the hand. Lengthen the heart forward. Take a few breaths. Feel all that space in the front of left hip. That's a nice dancer's pose. Super energizing. Hopefully you feel nice and open here, the front of the hips. And come back to this often, especially after a long day at the office. I hope that worked. I hope you feel amazing. Thanks for joining me. See you soon.